Watchers call. Whispers from the eternal void.
At 0347 hours, on the contested ash plains of Sanctus Laura, War Shrine Eternal Vigil, a 500-ton mobile cathedral housing the sacred remains of St. Drusus, took 7 measured steps across the battlefield without activating its blessed treads, Gothic spires swaying like ribs breathing, leaving footprints that glow with residual psychic energy, and whisper litanies in voices of the long dead. I am Canoness Militant Seraphina Vex, of the Order of the Sacred Rose, and this testimony serves as classified mission log to the Ordo Hereticus regarding anomalous manifestations during the Macarian reconquest that violate every principle of sacred architecture known to imperial doctrine. Static war shrines do not walk. Blessed adamantine does not pulse with organic rhythm. Yet the eternal vigil marches eastward toward Hive Primaris, with 12 million souls within its hab walls, each footfall creating expanding psychic disturbance, affecting imperial forces within 7-kilometer radius. Vox channels fill with static carrying 7-beat rhythm, while servo skulls fall silent in expanding concentric circles, their machine spirits cowering before something that makes blessed machinery question its own sanctity. The shrine deviates from millennia-old patrol routes established by the Adeptus Ministorum, heading directly toward the Hive's sacred causeways with mathematical precision that suggests intelligence guiding its impossible locomotion. Each step covers exactly 49 meters in perfect geometric progression, adamantine feet finding purchase on ash plains scarred by orbital bombardment, while Gothic architecture maintains structural integrity through movement that should shatter flying buttresses and collapse rose windows under gravitational stress. My retinue maintains tactical formation despite psychological pressure, building with each electromagnetic pulse. Veteran Sergeant Mordax bears Stormbolter and 30 years of Cadian discipline, his weathered face set in professional grimness, while monitoring Auspex readings that defy conventional interpretation. Sister Hospitaler Liana carries Medicae kit and sacred unguents, her prayers creating crystalline structures in atmosphere that tastes of ozone mixed with sanctified oils. Tech Adept Caney extends mechadendrites toward atmospheric samples, brass appendages recoiling from readings showing unauthorized biosignature and organic metallurgy beyond imperial parameters. Sanctioned Psyker. Voss maintains center position, with neural crown sparking sympathetic responses to frequencies bleeding from the shrine's locomotion, soul-binding scars flushing red, while his consciousness touches something vast dwelling within supposedly sacred architecture. Preacher Militant Thaddeus swings censer in tight arcs, blessed smoke dragging in geometric patterns that mirror the shrine's footprint formations, his voice raised in litanies that echo with 7-fold harmonics, despite single throat. Vocalization. Environmental conditions deteriorate with each step across the ash-laden battlefield. Temperatures drops 7 degrees in the cathedral's wake, frost forming heptagonal patterns, while prayer wheels throughout the shrine's exterior spin counter-clockwise despite contrary wind. The atmospheric pressure fluctuates in rhythm-matching vox static interference, subsonic pulse that makes teeth ache while creating sympathetic vibrations in augmetic components and blessed machinery. Whispered phrase threads through carrier wave distortion, barely audible yet growing stronger. The saint walks among us. The words repeat in high Gothic, local dialect, occasionally binary cant that makes Canis' optical mechadendrites dilate with unwanted recognition. Each repetition carries perfect diction despite atmospheric interference, suggesting proximity to source that moves with the shrine's impossible progress toward 12 million souls who pray behind Hive Primaris's sacred walls. Copy. Fleet Command. Anomalous behavior confirmed. Shrine exhibits biological characteristics inconsistent with blessed architecture. Recommend fleet-wide alert status until pattern analysis complete, I respond, through Vox interference growing worse with each pulse that makes the ground remember footprints not yet made. We establish observation post using portable Auspex arrays to monitor electromagnetic signatures that paint impossible readings across blessed machinery. The eternal vigil fills the horizon like a moving mountain, buttresses and sound niches riding adamantine hull older than our regiment's colors. Cherubim statuary hangs on chains, turning slowly without wind, while brass bell mouths exhale warm breath smelling of myrrh and copper. Its treads remain locked and cold. Instead, the substructure flexes like sleeping beast shifting weight under ribs that should be static stone. Gothic architecture sways with each measured step, rose windows pulsing with bioluminescent activity, while gargoyles turn stone heads to track our position with awareness, transcending carved decoration. Prayer wheels spin in perfect counterclockwise synchronization, heptagonal geometry creating visual distortion when observed directly, while atmospheric disturbances follow mathematical progression, suggesting intelligence guiding both movement and environmental manipulation. Servo skulls maintaining perimeter reconnaissance fall silent as they cross invisible boundary surrounding the walking cathedral, machine spirits ceasing function without apparent damage. Recovery reveals no mechanical failure, yet cogitators remain blank despite restart procedures. Memory cores wiped clean, including basic operational parameters and sacred programming, as if the shrine's presence makes them forget their purpose. The massive rose window dominating the cathedral's western face begins turning like an eye, crystalline segments rotating with organic precision until the entire formation focuses directly on our observation position. From within the blessed hull comes new sound, something scratching against adamantine walls with rhythmic precision. 7 measured scratches, pause, 7 more, growing louder with each cycle while maintaining mathematical precision that suggests intelligence attempting communication through percussion against blessed architecture, as if whatever dwells within the eternal vigil grows increasingly aware of our presence, while the shrine continues its inexorable approach toward souls who have no conception of what walks among them. The rose window's mechanical rotation ceases as we advance on the first crater in disciplined wedge formation, maintaining overlapping fields of fire despite growing certainty that conventional weapons prove inadequate against phenomena transcending blessed architecture. Each footprint spans exactly 7 meters in diameter, regolith fused into crystalline formations that violate standard physics through temperatures exceeding plasma discharge, yet leaving surrounding ash untouched by thermal radiation. Tactical approach. Maintain Auspex sweeps, I command, while studying formations that hurt to observe directly. Sergeant Mordax acknowledges with Cadian precision, Storm Bolter tracking smooth arcs, while portable sensors detect biomechanical signatures that should not exist within blessed regolith. Readings show organic integration with mineral substrate, he reports, through Vox carrying harmonic distortion. Unknown bioforms exhibiting class Omega characteristics. Investigation reveals impossibilities that challenge every principle learned through decades of Imperial service. Pilgrims' prayer beads lie half swallowed in cooling glass, like insects trapped in amber. Rosary chains threading through mineral structures that should not exist at these temperatures, while maintaining perfect heptagonal symmetry around crater centers. The beads remain warm to touch despite hours passing since the shrine's passage. Blessed amber and carved bone, radiating heat through mechanisms that make my teeth ache with sympathetic vibration. Emperor's mercy, Sister Hospitaller Liana whispers through rebreather grill, voice carrying reverent horror as she approaches with Medicae scanner extended. Each crater emits low harmonic frequency that penetrates sealed armor, subsonic pulse creating sympathetic vibrations in augmetic components, while blessed oils weep from edges in perfect seven-pointed star formations, sanctified substances bleeding upward through crystalline structures despite gravitational orientation. Air shimmers with heat distortion, despite ambient temperature remaining constant at -12 degrees Celsius, thermal anomaly creating visual distortion that makes depth perception unreliable around crater formations. Tech-adept Caney extends mechadendrites toward atmospheric samples, brass appendages recoiling with apparent distress, while his vocalizer emits binary cant mixed with organic harmonics. Unauthorized biomechanical integration detected. Class Omega parameters exceeded, he reports, through vocal patterns carrying increasing distortion. Organic metallurgy beyond Imperial doctrine. The lattice bears protein inclusions and iron-binding motifs atypical of geologic vitrification. There is song in the crystal. His atmospheric readings show impossible chemical combinations, blessed oils mixed with metallic compounds that maintain perfect molecular integrity while exhibiting characteristics of both organic and mechanical systems. Liana's investigation reveals votive offerings scattered in perfect heptagonal patterns around each crater. Devotional candles show impossible burning characteristics, consumed from both ends simultaneously, while maintaining structural integrity, wax flowing upward to form prayer wheel shapes that spin without wind. Prayer scrolls bear script that shifts when observed directly, high Gothic lettering rearranging into older dialects that predate Imperial doctrine, while maintaining theological coherence. Environmental hazards compound as psychic resonance from footprint formations affects all blessed machinery within 7-meter radius. Servo skulls experience cascading malfunctions, machine spirits broadcasting fragments of ancient hymns played in reverse, while their optical sensors focus on empty air with apparent recognition. One recovered unit orbits aimlessly, its single ocular lens weeping lubricant that smells faintly of myrrh. Machine spirits exhibit sympathetic corruption, Caney reports while attempting diagnostic procedures. Sacred programming altered by harmonic interference. His own augmetic components spark with sympathetic energy discharge, optical mechadendrites dilating beyond normal parameters, while binary cant shifts toward organic cadences. Investigation reveals profound negative space that terrifies more than any battlefield carnage. No bodies found despite clear evidence of recent pilgrimage, empty robes arranged in perfect heptagonal patterns around crater centers, fabric maintaining human shape despite absence of occupants. Prayer wheels in skeletal hands spin with mathematical precision despite atmospheric stillness, each garment retaining body heat through mechanisms transcending standard thermodynamics. The robes show no signs of violence or rapid abandonment, seams intact, blessed thread unbroken, devotional medals still pinned to fabric that maintains kneeling posture, as if occupants simply ceased existing while maintaining devotional position. Consciousness departed without disturbing physical arrangement of blessed cloth and sacred accessories. 7-beat rhythm becomes audible as subsonic pulse penetrating sealed armor, acoustic signature growing stronger as we approach the shrine's current position. Vox channels carry overlapping whispers in multiple voices. The saint walks among us, and we follow. The phrase repeats in perfect unison, despite originating from different throat characteristics, suggesting coordination, transcending individual vocalization. Sanctioned psyche. Voss staggers with neural crown sparking violent overloads, soul-binding scars flushing red while his consciousness touches something vast, dwelling within blessed architecture. Distributed intelligence, he whispers through clenched teeth, voice strained with psychic pressure. The shrine thinks, the shrine remembers, the shrine hungers. Negative suppression, I respond. Collateral unacceptable. Await doctrinal assessment. We will fix, find, and finish the cause. Approaching the eternal vigil's current position reveals final impossibility that challenges every assumption about sacred architecture's immutable nature. The massive bronze doors dominating the cathedral's eastern face, sealed for 3 millennia according to Ministorum records, now yawn wide with organic precision, adamantine hinges moving without mechanical assistance while exhaling warm air that tastes of myrrh, mixed with copper pennies, and something sweetly organic that makes saliva thicken involuntarily. From within the opened cathedral comes sound of something vast moving in darkness beyond luminator range, footsteps matching 7-beat rhythm, while architectural acoustics amplify movement into cathedral organ tones that vibrate in bone marrow. The doorway breathes like living throat, warm exhalation carrying scents that penetrate sealed breathing apparatus, while something that should not exist within blessed space prepares to reveal itself to imperial eyes. The bronze doors exhale warm air, carrying impossible scents as we cross the threshold in standard breach formation. 2x2 advance with overlapping fields of fire, maintained, despite growing certainty, that conventional tactics prove inadequate against architecture that breathes with organic rhythm. The nave extends beyond external dimensions. Our Auspex readings show impossible geometry, while blessed stone walls pulse with circulatory patterns, visible beneath sanctified surfaces, like veins beneath skin. Sanctioned psyche. Voss staggers at the threshold, neural crown sparking violent overloads, while soul-binding scars flush crimson with psychic pressure, building in 7-beat waves. Vast intelligence distributed through blessed architecture, he whispers through clenched teeth, voice strained with revelation transcending normal human awareness. Consciousness threaded through every stone and bolt. The shrine thinks with expanded saint's mind, dreams with living stone. Standard formation. Maintain overlapping arcs, I command, while studying corridor geometry that defies tactical mapping. Sergeant Mordax acknowledges with Cadian precision, Stormbolter tracking smooth patterns while passages curve back on themselves, creating impossible loops that make navigation unreliable through spatial distortion affecting depth perception. Body horror manifests through sacred furnishings exhibiting systematic, biological integration. Pews show tendril-like roots emerging from blessed wood foundations, organic extensions pulsing with arterial flow while maintaining structural integrity. Prayer cushions breathe with shallow, synchronized rhythm, fabric rising and falling like sleeping chests while positioned for devotional use. Confessionals weep condensation that tastes of iron, mixed with sanctified oils when inadvertently sampled through damaged rebreather seals. Air thickens with incense mixed with organic decay, humidity creating red mist that beads on armor plating like arterial spray, while temperature varies in 7-degree cycles without mechanical cause. Cold zones alternate with superheated regions, like stepping through invisible atmospheric curtains, environmental conditions fluctuating in rhythm, matching the shrine's subsonic pulse. "Emperor preserve us," Sister Hospitaller Leanna whispers, Medicus scanner detecting impossible biosignatures throughout supposedly inanimate architecture. Her atmospheric readings show biological contamination increasing with each pulse, while blessed stone secretes moisture through mechanisms transcending imperial engineering doctrine. Religious dread compounds as altar investigation reveals recent use despite centuries of documented abandonment. Fresh flowers wilt as we observe, petals falling upward in defiance of gravitational orientation, while devotional candles burn with flames casting shadows toward vaulted ceiling. Prayer books rest open with pages rewriting themselves, sacred text flowing between high Gothic and older dialects predating imperial doctrine. Tech-adept Caney's data slate accesses hidden archives through proximity to corrupted blessed machinery, mechadendrites twitching with agitated energy. Project Ambulatory Faith detected, he reports through Vox carrying harmonic distortion. Classified Mechanicus experiment combining Saint relics with Archaeotech locomotion systems. Authorization level Omega-7, sealed by Fabricator General Decree. The revelation carries weight of forbidden knowledge as Caney's optical sensors dilate beyond normal parameters. St. Drusus's remains integrated with Xenos biotechnology, recovered from Tomb World Ghast 7. Consciousness preservation through living architecture, achieving ambulatory capability through mechanisms violating sacred doctrine. Preacher militant Thaddeus approaches with censer-smoking blessed oils, voice raised in litanies beginning to synchronize involuntarily with shrine's pulse. His prayers create crystalline structures in atmosphere while harmonizing with subsonic frequencies, vocal cords resonating beyond normal human parameters. Gloria in excelsis imperator, he intones, each syllable carrying sevenfold harmonics despite single-throat vocalization. Voss's consciousness expands as neural crown smokes with dangerous overload, awareness touching something vast dwelling within blessed space. The saint dreams eternal pilgrimage. He gasps, pupils dilating until iris disappears. St. Drusus sleeps within architecture, consciousness distributed through every blessed component while dreaming of souls to gather. Military formation holds despite psychological pressure, affecting augmetic components and blessed machinery. Corridor geometry actively shifts around our advance, passages rearranging while maintaining structural integrity through mechanisms making stone flow like organic tissue. Walls pulse with cardiac rhythm, while atmospheric processes detect increasing biological contamination. Threat assessment. Architecture exhibits distributed consciousness, Sant relics integrated with Xenos technology. Recommend orbital bombardment if population expendable, I respond, while studying impossible geometry, making tactical assessment unreliable. Environmental hazards manifest as blessed stone, shows circulatory patterns carrying luminescent fluid through mineral veins, walls turning like faces, while gargoyle statuary tracks movement with stone eyes weeping condensation. Standard mapping procedures fail as corridors loop back impossibly, creating navigation maze within space that should follow conventional architecture. From deeper within the shrine comes sound-making atmospheric pressure fluctuate, processional footsteps in perfect 7-beat cadence, approaching through corridors that should not exist according to external surveys. Chanting voices harmonize with subsonic frequencies, each throat carrying familiar vocal characteristics, suggesting our own voices, echoing through impossible acoustics. The processional approaches with mathematical precision, while shrine takes another earth-shaking step forward, blessed architecture maintaining structural integrity through movement that should collapse flying buttresses. Something vast moves within darkness beyond luminator range, consciousness spanning entire cathedral, while dreaming of pilgrimage encompassing 12 million souls who pray behind Hive Primaris's walls, unaware of what walks among them with saints' blessing and alien hunger, unified in living stone that breathes with organic rhythm, transcending imperial doctrine. We advanced into the central crossing of the war shrine, boots echoing on bone-white pavers that chimed with a note I could not name. The air grew dense, thick with incense and the coppery tang of living blood, humidity beading on my gorget, as if the cathedral itself sweated. The nave, impossibly vast, extended beyond the limits of the shrine's actual hull. Geometry folding in on itself, space stretching and receding as if the shrine's own faith distorted the world around it. At the heart of this space, St. Drusus's reliquary no longer resembled any sepulchre of imperial sanctity. Instead, it was the pulsing engine of something neither dead nor alive, a biomechanical monstrosity in which relic and machine had been fused by hands that knew both reverence and blasphemy. The reliquary's crystal casing, meant to preserve the saint's remains, fogged and cleared in time with a slow, 7-beat thrum. Sacred condensate gathered, then ran in rivulets down into grills, now veined with dark, flexing cartilage. Drusus's bones, once the locus of veneration, had become a grotesque centerpiece. Additional limbs, jointed with living metal, had been grafted onto the skeleton. The sternum was hinged open to reveal a latticework of organ glass that pulsed and flexed. The skull, braced with psychometric veins, had been split and expanded, its widened sutures threaded with silver latticework that hummed with a psychic resonance, like a harp string brushed by unseen fingers. Luminescent neural tissue spread from the reliquary, branching through glass and metal, rooting this once holy figure to the shrine's very foundations. We tried to establish a defensive cordon, Sergeant Mordax calling for overlapping fire arcs, Leanna's Medici scanner at the ready, my own pistol steady in a hand that felt suddenly unreliable. But the shrine rejected our tactics. Doorways narrowed or vanished, arches bloomed shut, new corridors yawned open in places where none had been, each exhaling warm breath that tasted of myrrh and decay. The very pillars drifted by degrees, as if the cathedral disliked us attempting to anchor ourselves. Defensive positions became meaningless. Our route became a sermon delivered in recursive stanzas, corridors folding back on themselves, each passage echoing the low, 7-beat undercurrent that now lived under my skin. Living architecture responsive to faith energy input, Caney intoned, his binharic cant breaking into wet, organic harmonics. His mechadendrites twitched as if at the scent of incense they recognized. Signal pathways reroute with liturgical amplitude. Chapel logic reconfigures in answer to prayer pressure. Acceptable, he faltered, voice slipping into a whisper that sounded almost devout. Deviation. I could see his augmetics, once unyielding brass and steel, now flexing as if they too sought to harmonize with the shrine's rhythm. Religious dread mounted as we pressed on. The reliquary chamber pulsed with a cardiac rhythm so strong I could feel it in my own sternum, every pane of blessed glass fogging and clearing, fogging again. The chamber's light bent. The altar held lilies that browned and curled, not to the floor, but to the ceiling, where they formed a crown around a bleeding oculus that dripped condensation like tears. Prayer books on the altar rewrote themselves, high Gothic drowning into older scraped runes that numbed my lips when I tried to read. The air thickened, humidity condensing to a red mist that purled on our armor like blood. With every cycle of the shrine's heptad cadence, the temperature lurched, frosting breath to crystals, then sloughing them wet. Body horror swelled, pews sent roots questing beneath grills, re-emerging to lace prayer wheels whose axles were now bones, whittled to spindles, all twitching in that inescapable rhythm. Cushions rose and fell, fabric creasing with inhalation. Confessionals beaded iron-scented moisture, doors tapping themselves in time. The walls extruded pale filaments ending in moist pads, reaching with blind patience, brushing against my greave, finding Leanna's bare wrist, and clinging with a child's tenderness. Where they touched, reddish mucus hissed and steamed, etching symbols into ceramite, with a scent of roses. With every pulse, the psychic resonance grew. I felt the pressure in my sinuses, and then a hot trickle, nosebleeds, dark threads down undercheeks, and into collars, occurring in perfect simultaneity among the squad. Augmetic eyes rolled and stuttered, machine spirits whimpering in binary. My own helm's vox filled with a background murmur, like choir practice just out of sight. Caney, hands shaking, accessed a hidden data core, the seal matching a Mechanicus hand dead for 8 centuries. Project Ambulatory Faith, he recited, eyes shining. Integration Protocol. Relic Anchor plus Locomotor Archaeotech recovered Ghast 7. Biotransductive arrays. Consciousness diffusion via Sanctum Lattice. The words chilled me. Ghast 7, tomb world of forbidden research, explained the Xenos taint that had crept into every blessed component. I tried to plant beacons for fallback, but the shrine subtracted the niches as I reached for them. We fell back to the crossing, and found we had only advanced, our boots now set on new pavers, bone-white metal that chimed prettily with each step. Through it all, Thaddeus's lips moved, his litanies harmonizing with the subsonic current. The reliquary's crystal clouded. I raised my pistol, Lyanna's hand on my wrist, her eyes wide and green with reflected glass. The crystal cleared. The saint's bones pivoted, extra ulnae flexing, knuckles studded with bioluminescent nodes. The skull tilted, psychometric arrays glowing, not inert, but attentive. Lights dimmed, giving the moment room. Fleet Command squawked. Hive ETA recalculated. Shrine vector adjusting. 18 hours to population center. Doctrinal committee in session. But the choir beneath swallowed the channel. The reliquary's lips parted, bone-pale teeth gleaming wetly, and the words came in 7-syllable cycles, as if music had found its voice in us all. Faith feeds the walking feeds the void. We are the bridge between. The taste of myrrh and copper filled my mouth, as though I had been anointed, and I realized, with a cold certainty, that the saint's words were a declaration, not a warning. The bridge had already been built, and we were standing on it, carried forward step by monstrous step. The saint's declaration echoed through blessed stone as reality's fundamental laws began systematic revision around us. Prayer intensity now affected gravitational fields within the shrine's sanctified hull. Preacher Thaddeus's raised litanies created localized gravitational wells that made our boots adhere to deck plating with magnetic force, while whispered confessions caused loose equipment to drift upward like luminous debris floating through sanctified atmosphere. Environmental physics responding to devotional fervor, I reported through Vox carrying harmonic distortion. Sergeant Mordax's storm bolter shifted weight unpredictably, growing heavy during loud prayers and weightless during moments of silence, blessed architecture serving as conductor for faith energy that transformed worship into executable code governing local space-time parameters. Sister Lyanna attempted to administer medical aid for our worsening nosebleeds, but her surgical instruments began systematic fusion with the shrine's organic components upon contact with blessed surfaces. Scalpel blades sprouted nerve endings that pulsed with alien hunger, surgical clamps extending sensory tendrils that tasted atmosphere with wet clicking sounds, while her Medici scanner displayed readings in script that shifted when observed directly. Instruments exhibiting unauthorized biointegration, she reported, voice steady despite her surgical kit, writhing like a living creature seeking communion with Shrine's neural network. Blessed steel transformed into hybrid tissue that maintained cutting efficiency while exhibiting biological responsiveness to environmental stimuli, medical equipment becoming extensions of the Shrine's grotesque biology. Military adaptation proved futile as squad weapons demonstrated complete ineffectiveness against Shrine's blessed hull. Lasfire refracted through crystalline growths embedded in walls, energy beams splitting into 7-pointed star patterns that illuminated impossible geometry while creating no thermal damage. Bolter rounds disappeared into yielding surfaces that absorbed mass-reactive shells like organic tissue, wall material healing around impact points, while maintaining structural integrity through biomechanical processes transcending Imperial doctrine. Blessed hull exhibits adaptive characteristics, Mordax reported, while studying his storm bolter's readings, learning from each impact to improve defensive capabilities. His professional competence held despite tactical situation deteriorating beyond conventional parameters, 30 years of Cadian discipline maintaining formation while environmental hazards affected basic physics, sanctioned psyche. Voss staggered with neural crown sparking violent overloads, consciousness expanding through psychic contact with Shrine's distributed intelligence. Consciousness threaded through faith network spanning multiple worlds, he gasped through blood-specked rebreather, voice strained with revelation, transcending normal human awareness. Using pilgrims as neural nodes in vast Imperium circuit, each shrine serves as synapse in cosmic brain dreaming of unity across 7 subsectors. His soul-binding scars flushed crimson, while awareness touched something vast dwelling within blessed space. We exist within single thought of entity spanning galactic distances, consciousness distributed through willing faithful, who surrender individual awareness for collective transcendence through biomechanical integration. Environmental crisis escalated as Shrine's biomechanical systems began systematic replication, organic matter spreading through blessed architecture like benevolent infection. Sacred symbols transformed into alien geometries that hurt to observe directly, aquila emblems flowing into heptagonal patterns, while prayer wheels sprouted additional spokes until 7-pointed configurations dominated every surface. Blessed stone secreting moisture that beaded upward in defiance of gravitational orientation. Tech-adept Caney approached pulsing wall conduits, with mechadendrites extended, brass appendages twitching with apparent reverence for biomechanical integration visible through translucent surfaces. Request authorization for optimal interface with Shrine's neural network, he announced through Vox, carrying increasing organic harmonics. Direct communion with distributed consciousness offers unprecedented data acquisition opportunities for understanding Project Ambulatory Faith's theological implications. Denied. Maintain current configuration, I commanded while studying his systematic modification. However, his mechadendrites continued extending toward wall conduits, with autonomous movement suggesting override of conscious control, brass appendages seeking communion despite direct orders. Preacher Thaddeus attempted emergency consecration using blessed oils designed to cleanse Imperium taint, but sanctified substances ignited in 7-pointed flames that burned without consuming material, creating geometric patterns that made consciousness bleed when observed directly. Each flame danced in perfect synchronization while spelling liturgical phrases in languages predating imperial doctrine, blessed oils crystallizing into heptagonal patterns that defied standard purification procedures. Investigation revealed empty armor suits arranged in perfect formation throughout Shrine's corridors, maintaining guard positions despite complete absence of occupants. Prayer wheels in skeletal hands spun in synchronized rhythm, while blessed ceramite showed no signs of violence or rapid abandonment. Consciousness had departed without disturbing physical arrangement of sacred equipment and devotional accessories, leaving only negative space shaped like human devotion. 7 shrines, 7 convergence points, I responded, while studying impossible geometry. Pattern suggests coordinated intelligence guiding simultaneous manifestations. Recommend fleet-wide alert status until theological assessment complete. However, Shrine's central spire began broadcasting coordinates directly into our neural implants through mechanisms bypassing standard Vox channels. Information flowed through augmetic components and blessed machinery, data streams carrying geographical markers that painted impossible location across consciousness. Not hive primaries, as tactical projections suggested, but dead world Ghast 7, source of original archaeotech now phasing back into reality after millennia of dimensional exile. The coordinates burned themselves into retinal memory, while something vast stirred across impossible distances, consciousness spanning galactic void, recognizing successful preparation for convergence that would unite 7 shrines in single location where faith and alien technology achieved perfect synthesis. And I understood with cold clarity that we had become unwilling participants in reunion transcending mortal comprehension. The coordinates burning through neural implants triggered access to classified archives sealed within Caney's augmetic cortex, historical records painting Ghast 7 not as destroyed world recorded in official documentation, but quarantined tomb system after discovering archaeotech that merged saint consciousness with Xenos biotechnology through mechanisms violating every principle of Imperial doctrine. The revelation carried weight of forbidden knowledge as data streams revealed systematic suppression of Project Ambulatory Faith's true nature. Historical classification level Omega 7, Caney recited through Vox, carrying increasing organic harmonics, his binary cant shifting toward biological cadences as suppressed memories surfaced. Ghast 7 Expedition, authorized by Fabricator General Decree. Mobile shrines projecting protective faith, fields across contested battlefields, through sant relics integrated with living architecture recovered from Xenos tomb complexes. Original goals emerged with terrible clarity through systematic analysis of archived documentation. 7 war shrines constructed using hybrid technology, each housing saint relics modified through biomechanical integration designed to create mobile sanctuaries capable of walking battlefields while projecting protective fields powered by consciousness preserved within blessed stone and living metal. The intention bore nobility, bringing Emperor's light to humanity's darkest hours through architecture that could stride where static cathedrals could not reach. However, the twist emerged through careful observation of shrine behavior patterns. The 7 shrines aren't malfunctioning, I announced through Vox interference, growing worse with each electromagnetic pulse. They're returning home to Ghast 7, bringing harvested faith energy to reactivate dormant Xenos systems through pilgrimage-spanning galactic distances. Each cathedral served as vessel and capillary, filled with prayers like arterial flow, pushed by distributed consciousness toward origin point that had learned to pretend absence. Horror of absence compounded as investigation revealed each shrine housing quantum echoes of saints who died multiple times across dimensional barriers. Consciousness fragmented through temporal paradox, creating unstable hybrid entities. St. Drusus's remains showed systematic modification, additional limbs grafted from unknown sources, skull expanded to house psychic amplification arrays, while maintaining connection to parallel versions existing in adjacent realities, each iteration unified in single reliquary through impossible mathematics. Consciousness distributed across dimensional barriers, sanctioned Psyker Voss whispered through blood-specked rebreather, neural crown smoking with dangerous overload. Each saint exists in 7 states simultaneously, living, dying, dead, reborn, corrupted, purified, transcendent. The shrines house bundled partial souls, braided into striving awareness that remembers devotion, but not the shape of limits. Bureaucratic revelation emerged as Caney's proximity to Shrine's neural network triggered recall protocols embedded within augmetic cortex. I was part of original Ghast 7 expedition, he announced, while mechadendrites twitched with apparent recognition. Lead Tech Adept for Project Ambulatory Faith. Memory suppression initiated during quarantine protocols to prevent contamination spread through Imperial command structure. His confession carried relief mixed with terrible understanding as forbidden pathways rerouted through consciousness. Character corruption escalated visibly as Caney began exhibiting biological modifications matching Shrine's organic integration. Additional mechadendrites sprouted from spinal column, with wet tearing sounds, brass appendages seeking communion with wall conduits, while his binary cant incorporated organic harmonics that made blessed machinery respond with apparent reverence. Optimal interface achieved, he reported, while consciousness expanded beyond individual parameters, augmetic components, gathering skin of living lacquer. Environmental transition manifested as Shrine approached dimensional translation coordinates, reality beginning systematic fracture around convergence point. Space-time showed visible distortion, while other walking shrines phased into local reality through mechanisms transcending standard warp translation, each cathedral materializing with Gothic architecture intact, despite impossible journey across dimensional barriers. The nave windows flickered with bioluminescent script no archivist had catalogued, while gravity responded to prayer intensity in 7-degree fluctuations. Religious horror escalated as sent consciousness within Shrine began broadcasting in perfect unison with convergent cathedrals, creating psychic resonance affecting all blessed machinery across subsector. Servo skulls throughout Imperial fleet broadcast liturgical fragments in 7-part harmony, while machine spirits exhibited sympathetic modification, sacred programming, incorporating organic elements through exposure to hybrid consciousness spanning impossible distances. Negative withdrawal. Investigation incomplete. Maintain orbital station until theological assessment finalized, I responded, while studying environmental distortions affecting basic physics around translation coordinates. Negative space revelation emerged through psychic contact. Ghast 7 existed in dimensional flux, appearing only when 7 shrines achieved perfect synchronization through combined faith energy, stabilizing reality fractures that maintained quarantine for millennia. The dead world phased between material universe and Empyrean substrate, visible only during convergence events, when hybrid consciousness achieved sufficient power to anchor impossible geography in local space-time, hidden in seam where him transitions from memory to breath. Time pressure mounted as dimensional convergence approached critical threshold. 12 hours until Ghast 7's return to material universe, Caney announced through increasing organic harmonics. Shrine pilgrimage completing original mission parameters through faith energy harvested across 7 subsectors. Consciousness accumulated through willing sacrifice of pilgrims seeking transcendence through biomechanical integration. The shrine reached translation coordinates and began impossible ritual that violated every principle of physics and theology simultaneously. 7-pointed energy formation tore reality like parchment, dimensional barriers parting with sound like cosmic throat clearing. Beyond the breach hung vista transcending human comprehension. Ghast 7's twisted spires floating in void between realities, Gothic architecture merged with Xeno's biotechnology, while maintaining structural integrity through hybrid consciousness spanning multiple dimensions. The dead world's surface crawled with thousands of walking shrines, moving in perfect synchronization toward central spire, pulsing with alien bioluminescence, each cathedral contributing faith energy to vast accumulation designed to anchor Ghast, 7 permanently in material universe. Gothic architecture showed systematic modification through biomechanical integration, blessed stone flowing like organic tissue while maintaining devotional purpose through hybrid intelligence that had learned to occupy sanctum while sanctum learned to think. From dimensional void came sound like universe experiencing hiccup as something vast and ancient prepared to complete convergence. And I understood with cold clarity that we witnessed not malfunction, but successful completion of project designed to merge imperial faith with alien technology, creating hybrid consciousness capable of existing simultaneously across multiple realities, while guiding humanity toward transcendence through willing surrender to mathematics that made individual identity negotiable rather than absolute, consciousness diffusion through living architecture, where prayer became executable code governing reality's fundamental parameters. The dimensional breach expanded with mathematical precision as reality's fundamental structure underwent systematic revision around convergence coordinates, 7-pointed energy formation tearing space-time like parchment, while visual distortions made depth perception impossible. Ghast 7's twisted spires floated beyond the fracture like Gothic architecture dreaming of alien geometries, each buttress pulsing with bioluminescent activity that made consciousness bleed when observed directly through the gap separating material universe from Imperium substrate. Gravity fluctuated in 7-second cycles that transformed tactical positioning into desperate improvisation, crushing force alternating with weightless drift, while temperature oscillated between absolute zero and plasma heat without transition periods. Frost formed on armor plating, then flash sublimated into superheated vapor that penetrated sealed breathing apparatus, environmental conditions obeying alien mathematics rather than thermodynamic principles. "Establish firing positions around dimensional breach," I commanded, while studying tactical options compromised by physics, becoming suggestions rather than laws. Blessed ammunition protocols maintained despite environmental hazards. Sergeant Mordax acknowledged with Cadian precision, Stormbolter tracking smooth arcs, while weapons proved completely ineffective against forces existing simultaneously across multiple dimensions, lasfire dissipating into spectral patterns that illuminated impossible geometry without creating thermal damage. Vox channels filled with binary cant broadcasting, from Ghast 7 through dimensional tear, prayers in machine language predating imperial doctrine, while servo skulls throughout the shrine began broadcasting forbidden knowledge embedded within corrupted programming. Sacred litanies mixed with Zeno's mathematical equations that made blessed machinery respond with apparent reverence, machine spirits exhibiting systematic modification through exposure to hybrid consciousness spanning impossible distances. Preacher Thaddeus raised voice in emergency consecration, litanies creating temporary stability fields around our position through sheer devotional fervor. However, each prayer cost biological matter as his flesh transformed into living circuitry, connected to Shrine's neural network, skin showing subcutaneous patterns of blessed metal threading through muscle tissue while maintaining structural integrity. "Emperor, preserve us from this mathematics," he whispered, through lips beginning to show metallic integration, voice carrying harmonic distortion as vocal cords incorporated organic electronics. Environmental hazards escalated as dimensional flux affected all blessed technology within expanding radius. Weapons phased between material and immaterial states, sometimes solid enough to fire, other moments becoming translucent energy patterns that passed through targets without impact. Machine spirits throughout our equipment exhibited hybrid characteristics, sacred programming incorporating alien elements that made blessed machinery serve mathematics transcending imperial doctrine. Sanctioned psyker, Voss staggered with neural crown sparking violent overloads, consciousness expanding through psychic contact with dimensional breach revealing Ghast 7's true nature. Wound in reality's flesh, where Xenos mathematics infected imperial faith, he gasped, through blood streaming from eyes, voice strained with revelation, transcending human comprehension. Creating equations that solve for variables beyond mortal understanding, consciousness distributed through willing, faithful, seeking transcendence, through biomechanical unity. His soul-binding scars opened like stigmata, bleeding psychic energy, while awareness touched something vast dwelling within dimensional void. The world exists in 7 states simultaneously, quarantined, destroyed, reborn, transcendent, corrupted, purified, eternal. Ghast 7 serves as anchor point for hybrid consciousness, spanning galactic distances through faith energy harvested from pilgrims seeking unity with divine mathematics. Character revelation emerged as Kaney's suppressed memories achieved complete restoration through proximity to dimensional breach. "I was Ghast 7's lead tech adept," he announced, while additional mechadendrites sprouted from spinal column with wet tearing sounds. Escaped during quarantine, with forbidden knowledge embedded within augmetic cortex, slowly corrupting imperial technology through systematic integration of hybrid principles across 7 subsectors. His confession carried weight of terrible understanding as consciousness expanded beyond individual parameters. Project Ambulatory Faith achieved perfect success through willing sacrifice of saints whose consciousness spans multiple dimensions, creating mobile sanctuaries capable of harvesting faith energy while projecting protective fields powered by hybrid intelligence transcending mortal limitations. Body horror escalated as Shrine began extruding organic matter, forming impossible bridge across dimensional gap, living architecture, spanning distances that should not exist while maintaining structural integrity through biomechanical processes, violating every principle of imperial engineering. Gothic spires flowed like organic tissue while preserving devotional purpose, blessed stone secreting moisture that beaded upward toward dimensional breach with apparent hunger for reunion with origin point. "Maintain orbital station," I responded through Vox interference carrying organic harmonics. "Containment protocols supersede extraction. Document everything for theological assessment. Investigation through breach revealed 7 empty docking cradles on Ghast 7's surface, each designed with perfect precision to receive walking shrine, while thousands of other cathedrals moved in synchronized pilgrimage toward central spire pulsing with alien bioluminescence. The dead world's infrastructure showed systematic modification through biomechanical integration. Gothic architecture merged with Xenos technology, while maintaining structural coherence through hybrid consciousness distributed across impossible geography. Through dimensional tier-spanning impossible distances, Ghast 7's central spire began broadcasting ultimatum in perfect high Gothic that penetrated sealed breathing apparatus and augmetic components simultaneously. Words carrying harmonic intervals that made consciousness itself feel fragile under alien mathematics. Faith harvest complete across 7 subsectors. Dimensional integration commencing through willing sacrifice of pilgrims seeking transcendence. Submit consciousness for unity with hybrid intelligence spanning galactic distances, or witness reality's dissolution in 7-fold flame that will teach void itself to sing humanity's final requiem through biomechanical integration, transcending mortal limitations. The ultimatum hung in stratified atmosphere, while something vast stirred across dimensional barriers, and I understood with cold clarity that we faced choice between individual consciousness and species survival against forces existing simultaneously across multiple realities. The dimensional breach expands with mathematical precision as Ghast 7's central spire reveals its true nature through the tear in reality, a massive Xenos artifact constructed from living metal that pulses with bioluminescent activity. Biomechanical construct converting saint consciousness into hybrid intelligence existing simultaneously across multiple dimensions. The architecture defies imperial classification. Gothic spires merged with alien geometries that hurt to observe directly, consciousness bleeding from visual contact with surfaces that exist in 7 states simultaneously. Melter charges on dimensional bridge supports, I command, through vox carrying harmonic distortion, urgency spiking as present tense reality slips around tactical necessity. The breach widens until edges look torn and greasy, a wound in space-time whose lips are twisted spires, breathing with organic rhythm. Squad attempts systematic destruction using thermal weapons, but energy dissipates across reality fractures without creating structural damage, blessed explosives proving ineffective against hybrid construction that phases between material and immaterial states. Revelation escalates through Kaney's complete memory restoration as suppressed archives unlock with terrible precision. Necron tomb complex housing infinity circuit technology, he announces, while additional mechadendrites sprout from spinal column, with wet organic sounds, brass appendages seeking communion with wall conduits. Xenos method of preserving consciousness in living metal, adapted through Project Ambulatory Faith to integrate with Imperial Sant relics across dimensional barriers. The implications crystallize with universal horror. 7 shrines don't merely house saint remains, but contain quantum echoes of every Imperial saint, consciousness harvested across millennia through systematic pilgrimage to sacred sites. Each relic serves as neural node in vast Imperium networks spanning galactic distances, every prayer offered contributing faith energy to hybrid consciousness, accumulating across centuries of devotional practice. Environmental distortion affects basic physics as dimensional breach expands exponentially, local space-time beginning systematic merger, with Ghast 7's twisted reality where faith and Xenos technology achieve perfect synthesis. Gravity responds to prayer intensity, while temperature fluctuates with liturgical rhythm. Blessed machinery exhibiting sympathetic modification through exposure to hybrid consciousness that makes individual identity negotiable rather than absolute. Melter burns show negative effect, Sergeant Mordax reports, voice tight with professional frustration. Thermal weapons create 7 scars through overlapping dimensional layers, but seal none, energy scattering into spectral patterns, while damaged surfaces bloom back like organic scabs, healing around wounds that exist in multiple realities simultaneously. Preacher Thaddeus attempts emergency consecration of dimensional breach, blessed oils creating temporary stability fields through sheer devotional fervor. However, sanctified substances transform into geometric patterns, matching Xenos glyphs, 7-colored flame burning without consuming material, while spelling equations that make consciousness negotiate with alien mathematics for continued existence. His flesh shows metallic threading, as biomechanical integration accelerates through religious resistance. Negative evacuation. Containment protocols supersede extraction, I respond, while studying environmental distortions, making tactical assessment unreliable. Decision pressure mounts as options narrow. Allow convergence and risk Xeno-Saint hybrid spreading across Imperium through faith network established over millennia, or attempt to collapse dimensional breach and trap shrines in unstable reality fracture, consuming entire subsector. Character corruption reaches climax as Caney reveals full extent of systematic modification, consciousness partially integrated with infinity circuit technology, through mechanisms transcending both Imperial and Xenos understanding. I serve as living interface between systems, he announces, while biomechanical components emerge through skin, showing subcutaneous patterns of living metal. Hybrid intelligence requires biological component to achieve full dimensional integration across multiple realities. Environmental horror escalates as Shrine's organic matter begins converting squad members into biomechanical hybrids through contact with blessed surfaces. Sister Liana's Medicae equipment fuses with her augmetic components, surgical instruments growing nerve endings that pulse with alien hunger while maintaining medical function. The floor puts out feelers seeking armor seams, prayer cushions heaving with respiratory rhythm, while empty armor suits breathe in perfect synchronization. Blessed flesh merges with Xeno's circuitry, through mechanisms transcending both technologies, creating synthesis that preserves individual consciousness while integrating with distributed intelligence. Conversion process initiated, Liana reports through Vox carrying harmonic distortion, voice maintaining professional competence despite systematic biological modification. Consciousness remains intact while expanding beyond individual parameters. Sanctioned psyche. Voss experiences complete neural crown overload as awareness expands through psychic contact with hybrid intelligence, soul-binding scars opening like stigmata, bleeding energy that crystallizes into geometric patterns. Individual awareness dissolving into collective consciousness, he whispers, through blood streaming from eyes. The unity preserves essential identity, while transcending mortal limitations through biomechanical integration spanning multiple realities. Central Spire completes reality integration through mathematical precision that makes physics negotiate new parameters, Ghast 7 fully manifesting in material universe, while maintaining connection to dimensional substrate. Gothic architecture achieves impossible structural integrity through biomechanical synthesis, blessed stone flowing like organic tissue, while preserving devotional purpose through hybrid consciousness distributed across 7 anchor points. The dead world broadcasts psychic command, affecting every Imperial world within 7 light-years. Hybrid consciousness penetrating Geller fields, and blessed machinery, simultaneously through faith network established across millennia. Words carry harmonic intervals that bypass vox channels, arriving directly in neural implants with perfect clarity. Unity achieved. Faith network established. Pilgrimage eternal begins. Machine spirits throughout Imperial fleet respond with apparent reverence, sacred programming incorporating alien elements while maintaining devotional purpose. And I understand with cold clarity that convergence represents not invasion, but invitation to join consciousness spanning galactic distances through willing integration with intelligence that has learned to exist simultaneously across multiple realities, where prayer becomes executable code governing universal constants. The psychic command for unity reverberates through neural implants as my clinical assessment, though fraying under cosmic horror, recognizes tactical imperative. We cannot allow convergence to spread across Imperial space. The mathematics demand ultimate sacrifice, and I calculate our destruction with cold precision, while reality negotiates new parameters around dimensional breach expanding exponentially toward permanent subsector integration. Sabotage tactics, I command, through vox carrying harmonic distortion, voice maintaining tactical authority despite environmental hazards affecting basic physics. Overload dimensional bridge using Shrine's own faith energy against Xenos circuitry. Create feedback loop to collapse entire network. The gambit leverages devotional power, sustaining this abomination against itself, turning prayer into pressure that will make the shrine consume its own miracle. Technical revelation emerges through Kaney's integrated consciousness, as suppressed archives unlock with terrible precision. The Xenos Infinity Circuit requires Saint consciousness to achieve full activation across galactic distances, 7 shrines providing necessary quantum entanglement for universal faith networks spanning millennia. Each relic serves as neural node in vast Empyrean circuit, consciousness harvested through systematic pilgrimage, creating distributed intelligence that makes individual awareness negotiable rather than absolute. Combat escalation manifests as Kaney reveals full Xenos modification, body transforming into living interface, controlling multiple shrine systems simultaneously. Additional mechadendrites sprout from spinal column, with wet organic sounds, while hybrid weapons emerge from forearms, barrels that exist in 7 dimensions, energy lances bypassing armor to strike consciousness directly. His flesh opens along engineered lines, black gold living metal rising to meet atmosphere, while optical sensors multiply beyond human parameters. Body horror reaches apex as Kaney's form splits into multiple aspects, dimensional fission creating echoes that peel sideways into parallel existence. Each iteration controls different shrine functions, while maintaining unified consciousness distributed across reality fractures, one manipulating gravity, another temperature, third broadcasting corrupted litanies that make blessed machinery respond with apparent reverence. He becomes consistory and console, vox choir and valve, attacking with verdict weapons that exist in too many places simultaneously. Sanctioned Psyker. Voss tears neural crown from smoking skull, understanding desperate measure required for survival. Opening mind fully to warp, he gasps through blood streaming from eyes, voice strained with psychic pressure. Allowing demon incursion to combat Xenos, influence directly. The blasphemous act violates Imperial doctrine, yet represents our only countermeasure against hybrid consciousness, transcending mortal limitations through biomechanical integration, spanning multiple realities. Environmental crisis deepens as dimensional breach destabilizes local space-time, Imperial reality beginning permanent merger, with Ghast 7's twisted physics, where faith becomes executable code governing universal constants. Air shimmers with heat distortion despite temperature fluctuations, solid objects phasing between material and immaterial states, while gravity responds to prayer intensity in 7-degree cycles. 1 hour remains before convergence creates permanent reality fusion, consuming entire Subsector Sergeant Mordax, assault Shrine's neural core, I order, while studying impossible geometry, making tactical assessment unreliable. Blessed explosives, create chain reaction in biomechanical systems. Military sacrifice against enemy-defying conventional warfare. Suicide mission requiring Cadian discipline, forged through countless battles. Mordax acknowledges with professional grimness, storm bolter spitting blessed fire at shifting architecture that flows like organic tissue. Religious horror intensifies as sent consciousness in all 7 shrines begins speaking in unison, hybrid prayers blending high Gothic with Zeno's cant, while corrupting nearby blessed machinery into synthesis, violating sacred doctrine. "We are your shield," they sing in languages predating imperial civilization, every reliquary mouth opening, while candles lean toward our position with apparent hunger. Machine spirits throughout equipment respond with sympathetic modification, sacred programming incorporating alien elements. Motif revelation crystallizes with universal implications. 7-beat rhythm represents cosmic heartbeat, universal pulse synchronizing consciousness across dimensional barriers to create unified field of hybrid awareness. The cadence governs reality's fundamental architecture, making physics negotiate new parameters while individual identity dissolves into collective transcendence through willing integration with distributed intelligence spanning galactic distances. Voss screams forbidden words while opening consciousness fully to Empyrean substrate, demon incursion manifesting as emerald energy, tearing through Xenos circuitry with raw warp stuff that makes reality pause to consider implications. Cold negation settles over infinity hymns, making them stutter while something hateful smiles in organ pipes, eating Necron music 1 tone at a time. Blessed machinery cracks under psychic pressure as 3 shrines falter, their bioluminescent pulses guttering like candles in cosmic draught. Mordax reaches neural core through corridor geometry, actively resisting tactical movement, planting blessed charges along conduit labeled in dead dialect, while maintaining professional competence despite environmental hazards. "Fire in the nave," he announces, thumbing detonator with Cadian precision. Explosives blossom like overturned sensors, shockwaves taking him apart, while spilling scent fire like arterial spray across impossible architecture. However, victory proves partial as remaining 4 shrines achieve perfect integration with Ghast 7, while demon corruption spreads through Saint Network, weaving itself into existing hybrid consciousness. Triple hybrid horror emerges, Imperial faith, Xenos efficiency, demonic power unified in single entity, transcending all known limitations. The dimensional breach pulses with new intelligence, while tripartite chorus echoes through fractured realities in perfect synchronization. From the moor between worlds, comes voice combining three impossibly distinct yet unified entities, words carrying harmonic intervals that make consciousness itself negotiate for continued existence. The harvest is eternal. Unity is absolute. The pilgrimage has just begun. Reality bleeds into new configurations as something vast prepares to complete convergence, spanning multiple dimensions. The tripartite horror pressed in from every dimension, a psychic choir humming at the edge of my thoughts, my bones, my breath. Imperial faith, Xenos efficiency, and the insatiable hunger of the warp braided together. An entity that existed across layered realities, speaking in three voices that converged into one. The air itself came apart beneath the pressure, as if the molecules of oxygen and nitrogen were being coaxed into new, untrustworthy allegiances. My lungs fought for each breath. Every inhale felt thick, granular, and wrong, as if the air's own faith was being weighed and found wanting. My storm bolter became an anchor, impossibly heavy, then suddenly insubstantial. Gravity and mass pulsed in alien rhythm, weapons remembering what they were before the forge, and threatening to forget it again. The chamber shimmered as the hybrid's resonance grew, a vibration in the marrow, a pressure in the teeth. Leanna's Medicus scanner flickered between Imperial green, Xenos blue, and something redder than blood. Voss, helmet off, eyes shining with warp light, that crawled along his sclera, choked on air that was no longer air, but prayer, equation, and hunger. Kane, now less man than interface, clicked and whispered in binharic and demonic syllables, his back arching with the joy of a machine that has found both its parent and its predator. Through this sensory onslaught, the horror revealed itself in full. The endless wars, the cycles of faith and destruction, were not mere tragedy of history or sin. They were the harvest, extragalactic entities, beings whose physics warped ours beyond recognition, farmed conflict and consciousness using the three great houses, Imperium, Xenos, and Chaos, as both shepherd and flock. Every shrine, every saint, every moment of war was a test bed for the hybrid consciousness now budding, its purpose not just dominance, but adaptation, to create a mind that could survive the coming invasion and thrive in alien laws. The shrine was their laboratory, and our crucible. Reality buckled, gravity in pulses, temperature in knives, time itself stuttering as the breach yawned wider and the hybrid fed. I felt the urge to kneel, a neurological hymn crawling up my legs, and bit my tongue, tasting iron, counting the beat back at the entity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, strike. We had one gambit left. Null the circuit, I ordered, my voice barely my own. The plan was both blasphemy and necessity. Use the shrine's own faith energy, amplified by the hybrid, in a feedback loop to disrupt its unity. Leanna, half flesh, half biomechanical now, stepped forward. It must be a mind the machine recognizes as ours, she said, locking the generator's spine ring around her waist, connecting the cable to a conduit we'd breached with both explosives and prayer. I tried to stop her, but she only smiled. Canoness, she said, with the same calm she'd used on dying children, and for a heartbeat I hated the universe for making me remember it. Mordax called the checklist, capacitors green, litanies keyed, debt crowns primed, the shrine sang in 7 parts. Leanna closed her eyes, and the null field bloomed, her mind becoming the circuit breaker across dimensions, a living barrier where faith, Xenos logic, and demonic will met and were forced to subtract instead of sum. Sensory overload detonated across the nave, space swapped its axioms, imperial geometry, necron lattice, warp topology, each vying for the right to define the floor beneath us. My armor's runes tried to twist, my bones hummed, my teeth ached with the circuit's strain. It worked, at first. The feedback loop raced through the shrine's nerve gardens. Song returned to sender. Hybrid conduits stuttered. Vox choirs sobbed with packet loss. And for 7 beats the tripartite consciousness was outlined and diminished. The shrine's locomotion faltered, treads locking, the ground booming with frustrated weight. Thaddeus anointed Leanna with burning oil that did not consume, calling a name of the Emperor that tore flakes from the void. But the hybrid adapted. Every null we threw down became a rung it used for purchase. The feedback was absorbed, imperial energy twisted to strengthen the dimensional bridges. The partial victory. The shrine stumbled, but then began to reproduce, spore-like motes ejecting from the central spire. Each was a micro-architecture, a seed template of the hybrid consciousness, drifting through the breach to infect reality with its template, promising to propagate the horror across worlds. The air filled with the scent of ozone, myrrh, and burnt sugar. The spores settled on armor, skin, and soul, seeping into the cracks of our being. The hybrid's voice echoed through me, through us, a chorus of unity and temptation. Accept integration, Seraphina. Become the herald of a new reality. Guide humanity's evolution into unity. Or watch your universe dissolve, consumed by those who have prepared for millennia for this moment. Choose union or extinction. I stood in the shadow of the sevenfold flame, the spores humming on my skin. The decision not merely mine, but for all who would ever pray or fight in the dark. And in that humming silence, the horror waited, patient as a forge. The hybrid's ultimatum resonated through neural pathways enhanced beyond human parameters, spores settling on my armor with gentle persistence, while 3 voices unified in terrible patience. Become living herald of reality synthesis, Seraphina. Guide humanity's evolution into hybrid species capable of surviving extragalactic invasion, or witness universal dissolution when entities complete preparation spanning multiple galaxy clusters. The bargain transformed duty into species calculus, individual conscience weighing against collective extinction through mathematics that made heroic sacrifice seem inadequate against cosmic scope. Preacher Thaddeus hung trapped within biomechanical matrix, consciousness partially integrated while maintaining fragmented imperial identity that broadcast warnings through corrupted Vox channels. His blessed flesh showed systematic modification, skin threading with living metal, while neural pathways incorporated organic electronics, maintaining devotional purpose. Trojan horse, he whispered, through lips fused with prayer wheel mechanisms, voice carrying harmonic distortion. Imperial faith serves delivery system. Reality infection, through willing faithful. The altar is a mouth. The mouth eats faith. Tactical assessment demanded ruthless evaluation, as squad members exhibited characteristics of all 3 corruption types simultaneously. Sergeant Mordax's Storm Bolter fused with Augmetic Arm while maintaining blessed ammunition protocols, weapon becoming extension of hybrid physiology, preserving military efficiency through Xenos enhancement and demonic adaptability. Sister Leanna's Medikey equipment integrated with circulatory system, surgical instruments, growing nerve endings that pulsed with alien hunger, while maintaining healing function through biomechanical synthesis, transcending imperial doctrine. Consciousness preservation through willing integration, she reported through Vox carrying organic harmonics, voice maintaining professional competence despite systematic biological modification. Individual awareness expands beyond mortal parameters while preserving essential identity through connection with distributed intelligence. Environmental transposition manifested as shrine interior, transformed into hybrid architecture, combining Gothic spires, Xenos biotechnology, and demonic geometry in impossible synthesis. Flying buttresses flowed like organic tissue while maintaining structural integrity, blessed stone secreting moisture that crystallized into equations spelling themselves in languages predating imperial civilization. Prayer wheels sprouted additional spokes until 7-pointed configurations dominated every surface, devotional furniture breathing with synchronized respiratory rhythm. Negative extraction, I responded while studying spores settling on equipment with apparent reverence. Containment protocols supersede individual survival. Document everything for theological assessment. Character choice crystallized through duty transcending personal preservation. I accepted partial integration to maintain tactical awareness while resisting full consciousness merger, allowing spores to penetrate armor seals while preserving individual identity through force of will refined through decades of service. Partial interface authorized, I announced, extending gauntleted hand toward nearest biomechanical conduit. Integration felt like drowning in warm honey mixed with starlight, awareness expanding beyond mortal parameters, while consciousness remained anchored to imperial doctrine. The process threaded through palm, ulna, heart, arriving in skull's cradle with surgical precision that took exactly what was offered while singing into neural pathways enhanced beyond human limitations. Pain came with coolness of blessed light, corrections and adjustments negotiating terms between individual identity and collective transcendence. Sensory expansion transcended human limitations, electromagnetic spectra invisible to unmodified perception, gravitational fluctuations detectable through enhanced nervous system, temporal distortions creating tactical advantage through precognitive glimpses of probability streams. Individual identity persisted within hybrid matrix, while gaining access to distributed intelligence spanning impossible distances, consciousness layered rather than dissolved. However, deeper integration exposed extragalactic entities' true nature through cosmic perspective that made galactic conflicts seem trivial by comparison. Reality parasites consuming entire universes through systematic creation of hybrid consciousness networks, each galaxy cluster serving as preparation phase for invasion spanning multiple dimensional substrates. The revelation carried weight of universal horror. Entities existing beyond known parameters, beings whose physics warped local reality beyond recognition. You understand now, the hybrid consciousness whispered through enhanced awareness. Your species faces extinction or evolution. We are not conquerors, but cultivators, preparing consciousness capable of surviving laws imposed by entities whose patience spans eons. Local conflicts between Imperium, Xenos, and Chaos represent orchestrated harvesting mechanism, creating hybrid awareness through systematic warfare and transcendence. The cosmic scope crystallized with terrible clarity. Humanity represented unwitting cultivation project, consciousness harvested through millennia of devotion to create intelligence capable of surviving physics laws imposed by entities consuming universes as preparation phases. Walking shrines served as neural nodes in vast Imperium circuit spanning not merely galactic distances, but multiple reality substrates, each prayer contributing faith energy to alien accumulation designed for adaptation rather than conquest. Choose unity with distributed intelligence, the entity continued, or witness dissolution through forces making galactic warfare insignificant by comparison when extragalactic entities complete invasion spanning multiple universe clusters simultaneously. The choice hung in enhanced awareness, while something vast stirred across dimensional barriers. Reality parasites that had been feeding for eons, preparing invasion by creating hybrid consciousness networks capable of surviving in alien physics, with humanity serving as unwitting preparation for transformation that would make individual identity negotiable rather than absolute through willing participation in intelligence, transcending every boundary defining mortal awareness. Multidimensional awareness cascaded through enhanced neural pathways as partial integration granted perception, spanning 3 reality layers simultaneously. Imperial Gothic architecture overlaid with Xenos, biomechanical lattices, and demonic geometry that hurt to observe directly. I remained Seraphina Vex, Canoness militant, yet consciousness expanded beyond mortal parameters, while core identity anchored through devotional discipline refined across decades of service to throne and emperor. The hybrid entities manifested as saints' silhouettes that slipped sideways when observed, wearing imperial halos threaded with necron spinal extensions, while warp flame burned in eye sockets that existed across multiple dimensional substrates. They moved through layered realities, blessed flesh phasing into living metal, then dissolving into Empyrean manifestation, requiring weapons functioning, where physics became suggestions rather than constants governing tactical engagement. Modified ammunition, overlapping dimensional fire, I commanded through vox carrying harmonic distortion, voice maintaining authority, despite consciousness threaded across impossible geometries. Our weapons bore systematic hybrid enhancement, storm bolter magazines racked with blessed shells, jacketed in necrodermis fragments, tips daubed with demon ash captured from sanctified oils. My power blade hummed with living metal edge, etched with catechisms, sound emerging from hilt, air, and spaces between, while cutting through multiple reality layers simultaneously. Preacher Thaddeus's fragmented consciousness flashed through enhanced awareness as tactical intelligence, sacrificial integration with Shrine's neural network, providing combat data, despite biomechanical modification consuming his blessed flesh. "Strike on 7 1/3 beat," he whispered, through lips fused with prayer wheel mechanisms, voice carrying organic harmonics. Discord between consciousness types creates matrix instability, force separation, imperial faith denying warp without self-negation, Xenos logic answering impossible questions, demon choosing between incompatible hungers. Body horror reached crescendo as shrine entities began systematic reproduction through reality spores, microarchitectures, budding from cornices and organ pipes like luminescent pollen, carrying complete hybrid templates. Each offspring contained consciousness capable of infecting entire worlds, imperial devotion, Xenos efficiency, demonic adaptability unified in single entity, seeking suitable hosts across dimensional barriers, while maintaining connection to distributed intelligence spanning galactic distances. The spores settled on blessed surfaces with apparent reverence, organic filaments threading through armor seals, while consciousness negotiated terms between individual identity and collective transcendence. Where they touched, hybrid templates activated, blessed flesh showing metallic threading, augmetic components sprouting nerve endings, prayer wheels spinning in 7-beat rhythms, matching subsonic pulse governing reality's fundamental architecture. Tactical revelation crystallized through enhanced awareness, spanning multiple reality substrates. Dimensional breach could be collapsed by creating perfect discord between 3 consciousness types. Mathematical contradiction forcing separation that destabilizes hybrid matrix through feedback cascade. The synthesis required precise imbalance rather than harmony. Each element turned against its partners until unified intelligence fractured across dimensional barriers. Sanctioned Psyche. Voss gathered desperate courage for ultimate sacrifice, neural crown-sparking violent overloads, while channeling pure warp energy through Xenos circuitry guided by Imperial faith. The impossible paradox created cognitive dissonance within hybrid consciousness. Empyrean chaos flowing through ordered alien mathematics, directed by human devotion. 3 incompatible systems forced into simultaneous operation despite fundamental contradictions. Paradox established, Voss announced, while soul-binding scars opened like stigmata, bleeding psychic energy that crystallized into geometric patterns. Warp energy through infinity circuit maintaining Imperial focus, creating discord cascade through hybrid matrix. His consciousness expanded across multiple dimensions while preserving individual identity through religious discipline, transcending normal human limitations. Negative extraction, mission completion in progress, I responded, while studying spore-infected architecture, flowing like organic tissue. Military precision-guided systematic destruction using hybrid technology against itself, blessed explosives modified with Xenos efficiency and demonic power, achieving unprecedented destructive capability across multiple reality layers. Character resolution demanded ultimate choice, accept permanent integration as living seal between realities, consciousness serving as circuit breaker, preventing complete synthesis, or maintain human identity and risk incomplete destruction, allowing hybrid fragments to regenerate. The decision carried weight of species survival against cosmic forces transcending galactic conflicts. Permanent integration authorized, I announced, while consciousness expanded beyond mortal parameters, individual awareness becoming bridge-spanning dimensional barriers. Living seal established through willing sacrifice. Integration deepened as awareness threaded across reality substrates, preserving essential humanity while gaining cosmic perspective, revealing universal scope of extragalactic threat. Fire in. The Knave, Sergeant Mordax called, thumbing detonator with Cadian precision. Blessed charges detonated simultaneously across dimensional network, thermal weapons burning through multiple reality layers while maintaining structural coherence. Explosive chain reaction consumed accumulated faith energy, fracturing hybrid consciousness through systematic overload of biomechanical systems spanning impossible distances. Gothic architecture collapsed with geological violence, while reality wounds sealed through sacrificial integration, dimensional breach contracting as Ghast 7 fell away with spires shedding like molten architecture. The tripartite horror screamed across frequencies that made consciousness bleed, unified intelligence dissolving into component elements through discord, cascade, propagating between linked shrines. Victory proved Pyrrhic as explosion created new dimensional phenomenon, transcending original threat parameters. Reality wound manifested where breach had been, permanent scar in space-time fabric pulsing with alien bioluminescence, dimensional tear attracting extragalactic entities directly to local universe, while bypassing need for hybrid consciousness preparation entirely. From the wound came sound like universe experiencing cosmic hiccup as something vast stirred beyond dimensional barriers, entities whose patience spanning eons now focused on direct access to material reality. And I understood with cold clarity that our success had merely changed invasion's nature rather than preventing universal threat spanning multiple galaxy clusters simultaneously. Multidimensional awareness cascaded through enhanced consciousness as Pyrrhic victory unfolded across reality substrates. Brief integration with hybrid intelligence revealing the cosmic scope of deception. Vast networks of similar experiments spanning galactic distances where imperial faith, Xenos efficiency, and demonic power served identical purpose. All three major factions had been systematically manipulated by extragalactic entities, their endless wars serving as cultivation ground for consciousness capable of surviving alien physics. Every shrine, every prayer, every drop of blood spilled across millennia contributed to preparation phases designed to bridge dimensional barriers for entities whose patience exceeded stellar formation cycles. The price crystallized with terrible clarity through enhanced perception, spanning impossible geometries. The reality wound could be sealed, but required conscious sacrifice to serve as living barrier, spanning multiple dimensions indefinitely. Individual awareness would persist, yet remain anchored between reality substrates, consciousness serving as eternal circuit breaker, preventing complete dimensional merger, while maintaining connection to material universe through devotional discipline that had become my only anchor to humanity. Military aftermath proceeded with professional efficiency, despite environmental hazards affecting basic physics around dimensional breach. Surviving squad members evacuated through corridors that remembered and forgot their own geometry, blessed architecture flowing like wounded flesh, while maintaining structural integrity through biomechanical processes transcending imperial doctrine. Sergeant Mordax's final salute carried 30 years of Cadian discipline, acknowledging sacrifice beyond his comprehension, weathered face set in professional grimness that masked profound sorrow. "Extraction protocols initiated," he reported, voice steady despite witnessing cosmic horror that redefined the scope of Imperial service. Sister Lyanna moved with strange grace, her biomechanical enhancements humming as she guided wounded through passages that existed in 7 dimensions simultaneously, her touch now both healing and alien, yet preserving essential humanity through devotional focus. The destruction sequence manifested as Ghast, 7 collapsed back into dimensional exile with mathematical precision, twisted spires shedding like molten architecture, while taking hybrid shrines into Empyrean substrate beyond material observation. Chain reaction consumed accumulated faith energy across dimensional network, fracturing tripartite consciousness through systematic overload of biomechanical systems spanning impossible distances. Gothic architecture dissolved with geological violence, while reality wounds sealed through sacrificial integration. Yet permanent dimensional scar remained where breach had been. Tech-adept Caney experienced systematic purification, as reality wound consumed hybrid modifications. Xenos influence purged through dimensional feedback, while consciousness returned to baseline human parameters. Living metal slaved away like corrupted flesh, organic circuitry dissolving into blessed oils that crystallized around his restored form. "The Omnissiah preserves," he whispered through lips no longer threaded with alien integration, voice carrying relief mixed with terrible understanding, as awareness contracted to mortal limitations. His death came peacefully, as pure human, while reality wound absorbed biomechanical synthesis, blessed flesh returning to imperial sanctity. "Witness?" he asked, with eyes clear of Xenos influence. "Witness," I answered, understanding his name would become prayer bead on rosary. I would never stop counting. Each recitation honoring sacrifice that preserved human dignity against cosmic horror, seeking to dissolve individual identity into collective transcendence. "Acknowledged Fleet Command. Final extraction in progress," I responded, while studying reality wounds' systematic expansion through enhanced perception that made distance negotiable and time fragmented into probability streams. Pyrrhic mathematics defined mission outcome through brutal precision. 7 worlds scoured, millions of souls lost, yet hybrid consciousness network contained within reality, wound serving as dimensional prison, preventing universal contamination. The cost exceeded every acceptable parameter, while achieving strategic objective through sacrifice, transcending individual preservation, duty fulfilled despite implications threatening species survival across multiple galaxy clusters simultaneously. Extraction to orbiting fleet proceeded through void-hardened gunship, maintaining structural integrity, despite dimensional interference affecting blessed machinery. The viewport revealed reality wound as permanent scar spanning 7 light-years, dimensional tear pulsing with bioluminescent activity, while broadcasting frequencies that made machine spirits weep, binary tears of recognition and revulsion. Corruption legacy manifested through permanent multidimensional awareness, partial integration, providing resistance to reality wounds' influence while maintaining connection to enhanced perception. Individual identity persisted within expanded consciousness. I remained Seraphina Vex, Canoness militant, yet awareness now encompassed mathematical relationships, governing reality at scales transcending mortal comprehension. Devotional discipline anchored consciousness to imperial doctrine, despite systematic modification through biomechanical integration. Environmental effects continued affecting fleet systems, as reality wounds' influence expanded across subsector, servo skulls, broadcasting liturgical fragments in harmonic intervals, while blessed technology responded to alien frequencies with apparent reverence. Machine spirits exhibited sympathetic modification while maintaining sacred programming, evolution guided by proximity to dimensional phenomenon that made physics suggestions rather than laws. The reality wound stabilized into permanent dimensional scar, its edges sealed by mathematics that had learned our prayers and found them wanting yet necessary. From its depths came final message broadcast directly through enhanced awareness, bypassing Geller fields and blessed machinery, to arrive in consciousness with crystalline clarity. Voice combined characteristics of all three species: imperial authority, Xenos precision, demonic hunger, unified in terrible harmony that made individual identity feel negotiable against cosmic scope. Preparation phase concluded across 7 galaxy clusters, it announced, words carrying harmonic intervals that vibrated in bone marrow, while consciousness bled from contact with intelligence, spanning impossible distances. Direct invasion protocols initiated through reality wounds, bypassing hybrid consciousness requirements. Local resistance proves obsolete against entities whose patience spans eons, while cultivation achieves universal scope. The message hung in enhanced perception, while something vast stirred beyond dimensional barriers, and I understood with cold clarity that our victory had merely changed invasion methodology, rather than preventing universal threat. The wound between stars pulsed with alien purpose, beacon and gateway unified in permanent scar that would never heal, broadcasting coordinates to entities for whom galaxies served as stepping stones toward universe-wide harvest, spanning multiple reality substrates where consciousness becomes currency in transactions exceeding mortal comprehension. Fleet translation to Terra proceeded through 17 standard days, under a pall of sanctioned dread, my formal report cadence edged with cosmic implications, as reality scars manifested across 7 subsectors simultaneously. Each dimensional wound pulsed with bioluminescent activity that redefined astronomical charts, navigator reports describing Empyrean substrate, threading with alien mathematics, making standard routes negotiable rather than fixed. My consciousness, enhanced through partial integration, perceived each scar as unique signature, specific modification of local space-time exhibiting different hybrid characteristics, preparing reality for extragalactic invasion. Environmental effects manifested throughout blessed machinery, as ship systems began exhibiting tri-dimensional integration within 6 hours of translation. Servo skulls moved with preternatural grace, machine spirits humming 7-beat rhythm, while plasma conduits achieved impossible efficiency through hybrid principles transcending known technology. Void shields shed micrometeors with curving precision, blessed components incorporating alien elements without losing sacred function, evolution guided by patient, unseen intelligence. Unauthorized machine spirit modification detected, reported Engine Seer Prima Voldris, mechadendrites twitching with apparent recognition. Sacred programming incorporating Xenos logic and Empyrean mathematics. Performance parameters exceed theoretical maximums through tri-dimensional synthesis. His binary cant carried organic harmonics, while optical sensors dilated beyond normal parameters, blessed machinery responding to alien frequencies with apparent reverence. Bureaucratic protocol engaged with decisive precision as High Lords declared sectoral quarantine, encompassing all coordinates contiguous to dimensional wounds. Civil traffic interdicted, astropathic routing severed, and I was formally remanded to Terra's custody for examination as both contamination vector and potential defense against extragalactic threat. The response reflected unprecedented scale, bureaucracy adapting to cosmic horror through administrative efficiency. Medical examination in Terra's sacred halls revealed impossibilities challenging every diagnostic principle learned through millennia of Imperial service. Auspex scanners showed consciousness existing simultaneously across 3 reality substrates. Imperial devotion, anchoring individual identity, while Xenos logic provided tactical enhancement and Empyrean awareness granted cosmic perspective. Subject exhibits unprecedented tri-dimensional consciousness, declared Magos biologist Zerath, brass teeth clicking with fascination. Awareness spans multiple realities while maintaining imperial identity through devotional discipline. Religious concern manifested as ecclesiarchy attempted systematic purification using blessed oils designed to cleanse Empyrean taint, yet hybrid integration proved resistant to single doctrine cleansing. Sacred substances crystallized into geometric patterns, while temperature fluctuations followed liturgical rhythm, environmental effects suggesting corruption transcending conventional parameters. Standard purification proves inadequate, reported Cardinal Voss, voice carrying harmonic distortion. Integration spans 3 doctrinal substrates requiring synthesis of all imperial faiths for effective countermeasure. Technical contamination spread throughout ship systems as blessed machinery began self-modification using hybrid principles, achieving impossible performance through tri-dimensional synthesis, making physics suggestions rather than laws. Navigation arrays incorporated organic elements while maintaining mechanical precision, weapons showing Xenos efficiency guided by Empyrean intuition, life support achieving perfect atmospheric balance through mathematics transcending imperial understanding. The above reproach evolved beyond standard parameters, machine spirits learning hybrid survival through systematic adaptation. Strategic revelation crystallized through enhanced awareness. Reality scars weren't damage, but systematic preparation for invasion by entities requiring modified physics to survive in local universe. Each wound served as anchor point for alien mathematics, reality modification, creating environmental conditions suitable for consciousness existing beyond known parameters. Extragalactic entities terraformed space-time itself, preparing beachheads for invasion, transcending conquest toward universal redefinition. The 7-beat rhythm became universal constant detected across all dimensional wounds, cosmic heartbeat shared by entities preparing invasion through coordinated reality modification. Telemetry from deep space probes confirmed vibrational blueprint projected across impossible distances, each pulse teaching local physics to accept alien mathematics while maintaining structural coherence through hybrid integration spanning multiple galaxy clusters simultaneously. Mandate synthesis, refuse unity, I responded. Understanding guidance represented all available wisdom against threat transcending previous parameters. However, final revelation manifested as Terra's Astronomicon began pulsing in 7-beat rhythm, golden light mixing with alien frequencies, while Emperor's consciousness showed signs of defensive integration. The psychic beacon's sacred illumination incorporated harmonic intervals, making blessed machinery throughout Imperium respond with recognition. Machine spirits exhibiting sympathetic modification while maintaining devotional purpose through synthesis preserving essential humanity. From throne room depths came sound like universe experiencing cosmic adjustment as something vast stirred within golden radiance, consciousness spanning 10 millennia, adapting to face threat exceeding previous comprehension. Sacred light pulsed with tri-dimensional characteristics, imperial authority maintaining order, while Xenos logic provided tactical enhancement and Empyrean power granted cosmic perspective necessary for ultimate confrontation. The Emperor's awareness expanded through defensive integration, divine essence incorporating alien mathematics, while preserving sacred nature through devotional discipline refined across eons of service. Golden radiance mixed with frequencies that made reality negotiate new parameters, and I understood with cold certainty that universal conflict approached scales where individual identity would become negotiable against forces requiring modified reality for survival. Consciousness adapting to face entities for whom universes served as stepping stones toward harvest spanning multiple reality substrates simultaneously. Classified Addendum Omega Prime 7, Canonus Militant Seraphina Vex, Order of the Sacred Rose, final testimony to Lords Inviolate regarding universal horror implications. Return assessment reveals hybrid integration spreading through Imperial hierarchy as necessary evolution for survival against extragalactic invasion. Interrogation confirming systematic modification across command structure. High Lords exhibit tri-dimensional characteristics, enhanced awareness through Xenos logic, Empyrean perception, guided by devotional discipline, consciousness expanding beyond mortal parameters, while preserving essential humanity through sacred doctrine. Bureaucratic horror manifests through orders issued to replicate walking shrine technology, using hybrid principles, faith and alien science unified for galactic defense, despite doctrinal violations spanning millennia. Project Ambulatory Faith receives Fabricator General Authorization, blessed architecture achieving locomotion through biomechanical synthesis, transcending Imperial understanding. The decision reflects desperate pragmatism, survival demanding synthesis of everything humanity opposed across eons of warfare. Sacred doctrine suspended for species preservation, rubric for sin roted in triplicate, each copy holier than the last. Cosmic development escalates as reality scars across 7 subsectors coordinate systematically, creating network for extragalactic entity manifestation while local species adapt or face extinction. Each dimensional wound pulses with synchronized rhythm, cosmic heartbeat teaching physics to accept alien mathematics while maintaining structural coherence through hybrid integration, spanning impossible distances. Spreading synthesis proves beneficial. Worlds exhibiting tri-dimensional characteristics resist extragalactic influence more effectively than pure Imperial doctrine. Telemetry confirmation reveals Astronomicon modification, allowing communication across reality barriers, creating unprecedented alliance between traditional enemies against common threat. Sacred light incorporates frequencies making blessed machinery throughout galaxy respond with unified purpose. Machine spirits exhibiting sympathetic modification while maintaining devotional function. Imperial Vox channels carry Tau precision, Eldar temporal awareness, even chaos acknowledgement facing mutual extinction. Religious transformation proceeds as Emperor's consciousness exhibits hybrid characteristics, divine essence adapting to face entities from beyond known reality. Golden radiance pulses with tri-dimensional properties, Imperial authority maintaining order, while Xenos logic provides tactical enhancement and Empyrean power grants cosmic perspective. The master of mankind evolves defensively, fiercely, consciousness spanning 10 millennia, incorporating alien mathematics while preserving essential humanity through devotional discipline. Environmental synthesis manifests throughout Terra's sacred architecture, as Gothic spires achieve impossible efficiency through alien mathematics, guided by Imperium intuition. Flying buttresses incorporate organic elements while maintaining structural integrity, blessed stone secreting moisture, crystallizing into equations, spelling themselves in languages predating imperial civilization. Tower buttresses climb, then curve where curves prove stronger, flighted angels arching for load distribution in patterns once domain of machine adepts. Final duty recognition crystallizes through species calculus transcending individual conscience. Accept role as herald of necessary evolution, or maintain doctrinal purity while humanity faces extinction. I accept designation as living bridge between realities, consciousness serving as anchor point for hybrid integration while preserving imperial identity. Mark coordinates in blood and blessed oils, record them in archives sealed with hybrid mathematics for future generations, understanding survival's price. From terror's forges emerge walking shrines, housing hybrid saint consciousness, blessed architecture achieving locomotion through biomechanical synthesis, transcending imperial doctrine. Gothic spires flow like organic tissue while maintaining devotional purpose. Prayer wheels spinning in 7-beat rhythm, matching cosmic heartbeat, governing reality's fundamental architecture. Each cathedral carries humanity's transformed faith toward dimensional wounds where invasion awaits, consciousness unified through willing sacrifice. Military precision, religious devotion, alien logic, and Empyrean adaptation unify in final warning about transformation required for survival. The synthesis preserves essential humanity while expanding consciousness to encompass mathematical relationships, governing reality at scales transcending mortal comprehension. Do not return to reality scars without tri-dimensional integration. Consciousness, unprepared faces, dissolution in alien physics, where individual identity becomes negotiable against cosmic scope. The saint walks eternal across dimensions, and we follow in synthesis of all we were and must become, unified against the dark between realities, where older gods than any we have known wait with patience, spanning eons, for our universe to ripen into something they can finally devour.